Hello, my name is Stephen Taylor, and today we're going to be talking about early Islamic architecture. And to get us started, we'll talk about a little bit of history. So, during the early centuries of Islamic history, the center of Muslim politics and culture was in the Fertile Crescent of Mesopotamia. The Caliphs, uh, which were the leaders of Muslim countries, the religious and civic rulers, they tended to be builders, as well, with many caliphs being responsible for the creation of the first Islamic buildings in the Middle East and beyond. The caliphs of Damascus, the Umayyad dynasty, were responsible for many great buildings themselves, and it's those buildings that we're going to be talking about today. Those buildings and beyond. So, one of the first buildings we're going to talk about is the Dome of the Rock. Now, the Dome of the Rock was a large shrine that was built in about 692 by the current Umayyad Caliph, Abd al-Malik. It served as a monument to celebrate the victory of Islamic forces in taking Jerusalem from the Byzantines in 638. Now, the dome is considered by many as the first great Islamic building, and honestly, I can see why. This building is a shrine that carries a great deal of significance, and that's because it marks the coming of a new religion in a city that was, and still is, held sacred to both the Jewish people and the Christians of the time. So this dome was a pretty big deal. Now, the building's overall aesthetic takes inspiration from famed buildings such as the Pantheon in Rome, the Hagia Sophia in Constantinople, a lot of Western influences. And one of the bigger inspirations for the dome was a nearby Christian monument, which was Constantine's Church of the Holy Sepulchre. I might have mispronounced that, but mispronouncing a lot of things in this video, so I apologize for that. And Abd al-Malik was blown away by its beauty, it was said. And so, he vowed to make his monument even more so. And I think, in my opinion, he did just that. So, we're going to move on to our next building, and that would be the Great Mosque of Damascus. Now, in 661, the Umayyads transferred their capital from the holy city of Mecca to Damascus. Years later, Abd al-Malik's son, al-Walid, bought a Byzantine church in the area. Now, he dismantled the church, and on its foundation, he created the Great Mosque of Damascus. And much like his father's dome, al-Walid's mosque was greatly inspired by Roman and early Christian architecture. Seems to run in the family. And while the building itself is quite beautiful, I want to focus a little more on the mosaics you can find on this mosque. And what makes these mosaics so interesting to me is that on them you see plenty of plants, plenty of buildings, and they're very pretty. But you do not see a single animal or a single person, no one. And this is due to Islamic tradition. It wasn't necessarily banned in the Quran. However, it just came about in Islamic tradition that animals or people or images of them were not allowed to be on mosaics in mosques. So I found that to be pretty interesting. And so we're gonna flip things a little, and talk about another dynasty and their contributions to Islamic architecture. And we're going to be talking about the Abbasids. So, after a civil war that ended around 750, Another dynasty, the Abbasids, overthrew the Umayyads. And so, when they did that, they moved the capital from Damascus to Baghdad. And between the years of 848 to 852, a new mosque was built in Samarra, which is the capital of the Abbasid Caliph of modern-day Iran. What is now modern-day Iran. And this was al-Mutawakkil. So this mosque is considered the largest mosque of its time, which is why it was referred to as the Great Mosque of Samarra. However, I'm more interested in the building that's right next to it. One of its more interesting parts, which is the Maluia Minaret, which is a spiraling tower that's connected to the mosque. An important thing to know about minarets is that they are towers where Muslims are usually called to pray, and this minaret is unique in the fact of its spiral shape as well as its use, as it's too tall for anyone to be called to prayer, which left many people wondering, well, what's it for? Many people theorize that its presence is meant to signify the Islamic presence in the Tigris Valley. Given its height, that would make sense. It can be seen by a lot of people. It's very imposing. I think with that, that wraps it up. I hope I was able to help you with this look into history of Islamic architecture. Thank you.